This video is for a subscriber who suggested that they would like to see this 5-acre plot of ground that I bought. Some of the pictures we're going to show, it's going to look like an open field, and these are before and after photos. If you would notice the acorns on the ground around me, the seedlings, all of this is planted. We might entitle this "Grow Your Own Wilderness." Many varieties of trees here, sawtooth oaks, jack pine, Virginia pine, a red oak variety referred to as pin oak, and then as well as swamp oak and several other naturally occurring varieties in the area. So in the photo you just viewed, January 1st, 2004, you'll notice a little sprig of bamboo and a house in the background, which cannot be seen now. Bamboo, there are yellow, black, and then native river cane varieties right here. I started with 2 spades of each. That is, let me clarify, a spade of black, a spade of yellow, and then 1 spade of the natural river cane. Bamboo filters the air. It filters noise as well. It's a noise barrier as well as a visual barrier, and it filters and cleans the soil. And I'd invite you to do some research on bamboo. I actually use it for fishing poles, and very rewarding, very enjoyable craft, that is. Alright, we're rolling. In the picture you just viewed, and maybe some video of the year 2009, I'm holding this little bitty guy and he's touching a shovel. And here we are in the year 2021, and here's the trees that we're planting or transplanting. So you see the difference in size. He's a great big man, and we got a great big tree behind us, and they both started out about like this. He was, well, they was both tinier than that, but you see them now from the pictures to now. You've seen this young man in other videos and maybe even on another channel. So that's about it. I've got Reba and who's the other camera woman? I forgot her name. What was the other one's name? Loretta and Reba. Right. Thank you girls for filming us today. Same picture, February 13th, 2009. My son and I are planting trees. You've just seen him in the previous clip. He's now filming. I planted 67 of these Virginia pines, and you can see the diameter of this. In 2009, they were seedlings, and transplanted them. They were smaller than the diameter of my finger, and you can see the size of this now. So here we see some pine pitch here, which is useful for many things. The main reason for the planting of these is for a visual screen, and the study of visual screening and the dynamics of trees and weather block, nesting, etc. These were planted for that purpose. So on January the 6th, 2007, I was visiting an East Tennessee college campus and picked up several hundred Japanese hybrid sawtooth acorns. And in the picture you see my father and I are planting these acorns right here. And that was February 11th, 2007. Also, if you pan back to the right here, these trees were potted seedlings from Turner and Son Nursery, which I used to pick seed for, and I think I planted 30 of those. So they're really big trees now. The picture we just viewed, August the 5th, 2007, I am actually weeding these seedlings behind us here, pulling the weeds from them after they've sprouted. Several hundred of these came up. The Japanese hybrid sawtooth oak, when the tree is mature, they bear 1,000 pounds of acorns per year per tree. And they begin bearing at the age of 4, and they bear every year. And you see these acorns, they're everywhere on the ground. Employer X, that is the man I used to work for, runs dozers and excavators, and he said that I would have to hire him to move acorns to keep these out of the way. So truly they are hard to walk on. This is October the 24th. These trees will drop into the month of November. If we look up in the trees, they're still holding acorns, still have a lot of acorns in them, and they drop for a long time. So let's go for a walk, keep the camera rolling, and we'll kind of view the ground as we walk. Massive amount of acorns. So we're seeing the acorns along, and here is about the size of the Virginia pine that we initially planted when I'm with my son and he's a baby. So these are beginning to naturally spread. Initially, this is a reforestation project. I did this without help from the state. I did this on my own, but using state guidelines. The planting grid, 10 to 15 feet between trees, and then the rest we have just let go wild. And it's a beautiful thing. If we look back under these trees, you see all varieties in there. You see maple, obviously sawtooth, white oaks, and then these little seedlings, the little Virginia pine seedlings. There's some jack pines in here. Now, continuing on, look at this acorns. Looking at the ground here, it's just loaded with acorns in there. Natural deer migration happens each fall here. We do have a family of deer hunters, predator hunters, turkey hunters here, and some non-native cats also. Massive amount of acorns. It's unbelievable, and this gets deeper. It eventually gets to where you can't see the ground. Again, I can't express to you the amount of acorns that these sawtooths drop. It's unbelievable. And the deer come in large numbers. We have groundhogs here, turkey, squirrel, chipmunks, and just all sorts of animals come in here. And about this very spot, I've trapped coyotes in this very area. Right here we have autumn olives, and they make a berry, a red berry. The birds have about picked them all off, but the squirrel, the deer, the turkey, the groundhog, they love these things. And again, they make a visual barrier, a sound barrier. I've planted probably 30 of these, and they begin to spread also. And you'll again notice the acorns on the ground. It's unbelievable. This tree, to show you the size of the timber. Now, to speak about this wood a little bit, I don't like it for firewood, although it will burn. It soaks up a bunch of moisture and it rots quickly. So the Japanese hybrid oak, in my opinion, for wood is not good for firewood, and I've not yet milled any of it for lumber. Again, the acorns, that's the deal with this tree. They're everywhere. Love them for acorn production. Alright, this particular tree, I accidentally got it. It's the gobbler variety. There's a gobbler variety sawtooth, and the only difference is the size of the acorn. The turkey likes these smaller acorns better, and that's the difference. I didn't order this tree, but I got it accidentally, so it evidently got mixed in with the lot that I bought. All of these large trees right here, in 2007, there was a big freeze, and it froze and busted all of these trees, and my grandfather, being a long-time nursery grower, suggested I saw every one of them off at the ground, and that's what I did. And you see what the results are. They all came back, and they're all awesome. If you would notice all the seedlings that's in here. This has not been mowed or bush hogged, brush hogged in about 5 years, I guess, and it's growing back up, which is what we desire. We can come in here and mow it. Also notice the spacing on the large trees, 10 to 15 feet. That gives the tree room for their crowns and nutrients and moisture from the soil. Alright, these particular trees, I have 36 of these, and if you've watched some of the cabin videos, these are river birch, and they're in some of the cabin videos. Let me grab a little bit of bark here. This bark is highly resinous and highly flammable. It's kind of different from the birch bark of the north, but it's still very flammable, good for fire starting. You can peel that off the tree and it nearly explodes with a flint and steel or a ferro rod or a match or a cigarette lighter. And so I wanted plenty of those on that 5-acre plot. And then back here behind me we have filbert hazelnut. I planted a huge number of these. Yesterday I just harvested some seed for a friend of mine and co-subscriber AWC 0000. He's an engineer extraordinaire, and he is reforesting a piece of property that he bought and wanted some of these, and I've already got him some sawtooth oaks and some pin oaks and several things. We're getting him a place started. We planted thick. I've planted for probably 10 years straight on this 5-acre plot. Now, these are sawtooth variety. Sawtooth is the next row, and then about 3 rows in you see what I'll refer to as a bur oak, and it's a native swamp oak. And a man by the name of Jerry Cooper donated those acorns, and we've grown those trees from acorns, and they're probably 30 feet tall now. So follow me with the camera and we'll talk and look as we go. The filbert hazelnuts and birch trees are on your left. Sawtooth and bur oak variety on your right. And this is where armadillo has been burrowing in a fire ant den. The armadillos have followed the fire ant up here from Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, heading north. This is a native white oak. He's probably about 10 years old. They're significantly slower growing than the other trees that I showed you. So this is a Virginia pine. This is the end of the original 5-acre plot, and then I was able to buy another acre, which we're fixing to go on to right now, that I also did a reforestation project on. So when I originally bought the 5-acre plot, I planted a screen of these Virginia pines. You can hear the road noise. We're getting close to the road now. We look over here and we see sawtooths, and here we can see the burr with the acorns in them. And you know, these will bear plumb into November and even into December. And I've not trimmed these back. This is how they grow naturally, without manicuring, without trimming or pruning. Notice on the ground, and it's difficult to walk. If you got boots on, it makes it a little better, but there's a bunch of acorns on the ground. Here we see the screen. We see a sawtooth, untrimmed, unmanicured. Here we have everything. This is undesirable. I'll have to trim this out. This is a Caloriana pear seedling, and they are thorned. You get in here close, you can see that thorn against my thumb there. Let's get it in the light. Now that'll ruin a tractor tire. Here's a big one right here. See that behind my finger? Big old giant thorn there on my index finger. Alright, but in behind him we got a sawtooth, and then we got our Virginia pine. Right here's a maple, and then here is a willow oak. It's a real fine narrow-leaved oak, and they produce a little bitty tiny acorn. I refer to them as a chinkapin acorn, but I don't know if that's proper or not, but it's a very beautiful and preferred acorn. The animals love them. And again, look on the ground at these acorns. Alright, heading on over here. In here, we planted and let this go natural. The purple you see is sweet gum, and that's the naturally occurring tree here. We also have pin oaks. The great big tallest trees are pin oaks, and those were growed from my neighbor's acorns. Right here, these are we grew these for AWC 0000 in his reforestation project. We dug 76 of these out of here. I planted these last year, and we had this marked off for him, and we've already came in the spring and dug them. So that's the remnants. I wanted to leave a few for myself. So here's an up close of a sweet gum. These are used for railroad ties. They're treated with creosote and or tar, and turn these into railroad ties. I have a friend that owns and runs a sawmill, and he cuts these exclusively at certain times of the year. This is a sawtooth. Here we see remnants of the pin oaks that we grew last year. We'll kind of show the highway right here. This is a major state highway, a road coming off of it, and these are on a 15-foot spacing. Those are sawtooths, and then on the border we have pin oaks around there. We'll walk over there and walk up that. Take a view of the ground here of the acorns. Have I said that the sawtooths really bear a lot of acorns? Look at the ground here. It's just unbelievable. 1,000 pounds per tree per year. Right here we have a pin oak, and that is the red oak variety. I know I've stated that many times as well. That's the red oak variety. Here's a red oak variety, and then behind him another red oak variety, and those are pin oaks. red oak variety right here. And those are really good windbreak tree, weather break, windbreak. And these are all baby sawtooth, maybe 4 years old, and they are bearing acorns. Just notice the ground. Acorns, 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 acorns. And these are big, meaty acorns. The animals love them. Here we get back into the Virginia pine and the jack pine. And the cordwood 2021, I'm chopping on one of these. This is a sourwood right here. Chopping on one of these. Notice the acorns on the ground again. So we see these volunteer seedlings again. Beautiful trees. There's one of those really pretty oaks. Volunteer, and we see a autumn olive right back in there. And that's volunteer, and then a pin oak. Here's a sawtooth oak right here. Acorns on the ground. And then here again, we've got sawtooth oaks. So to talk about this a little bit, I've always loved the woods. Kevin Kvetch, in one of his videos, just a guy that loves the woods. I love the woods too. I have planted more trees than I've cut, that I've killed, but I love it. Love saws, love axes, but I also love trees. Love to camp, love to hunt. Love being in nature. A lot of my inspiration has been Dick Prenicky, and the book series that I review on my channel, Calvin Rutstrom, Wilderness Cabin, Wilderness Life. I mentioned Dick Prenicky. I read all of his diaries. Really interesting man. A lot of similarities. Dick Prenicky was a mechanic. He was a carpenter in the Navy, I believe it was, and obviously flying float planes, things of that nature. Really good with an axe. Movies that have inspired me: Jeremiah Johnson, Mountain Men, the movie with Charlton Heston, things of that nature. Primitive skills. But Calvin talks about growing your own wilderness, building cabins, things of that nature. So Kevin Kvetch had made mention of wanting to see this particular piece of the property. This was basically just an open hayfield at one time, and we have drastically changed it. It would probably take a week with a good dozer to clean all this up, but we hope that doesn't happen. Mom has threatened that from time to time, but I'm thankful to her and to my family for supporting me in this. My grandfather, my father, and my uncles, my children have all helped me to do this over the years, and a lot of donations made towards this, both in acorns and labor and seedlings. The university for which my uncle is employed has donated a lot of those river birch. So I'm thankful to have this and glad to share it. Hope you've enjoyed watching it. Thank you for watching.